Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. So in today's video I thought I would film something pretty easy and neutral. I thought it kind of turned out a little bit bridal without me realising, but the eyeshadow is really easy to do, and I also done a few new things. So I've got eyeliner all over my hand. I've done a few new things with my foundation as well, and I also wanted to use the Bperfect Clientele palette because I haven't used that much on my channel, I don't think, but the colours are really easy. I literally use like 2 shades, so you could use anything that you have at home. So if you do want to see how I got this look right here, then just keep on watching. I'm actually starting with brows today, so I have just done one off camera, and I'm using the Pink Honey Super Hold Honey Glue, and I've basically just sprayed inside with some setting spray, and then I literally just, it's like a little hole in there, so you just run your brush inside the hole. I like my brow hairs to be too like straight. I prefer them going at an angle, but I know some people can really pull off the straight up brow. Then I'm basically just going to grab the Morphe brow gel in the shade Hazelnut and the Spectrum A23 brush. This is like a tiny angled brush, and I kind of use this to draw in hairs as well as draw in the tail to kind of like elongate it. And then I'm just elongating the tail, and then that's pretty much it. So I don't put too much product in this kind of brow because when you brush them up you get that nice texture of the hair. So I just popped a little bit of concealer underneath my brows just to kind of carve them out a little bit. So I am going to do my foundation now because the eyes aren't too dark. So let's crack on. I mean, I'm going to use the same foundation as I do in every video. I feel like I want to try something new. I'm hoping to try the new Morphe one. So let me know if you want a review on that. For my moisturiser, I use the Eye Unique Daily Moisturizer. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but this was the moisturiser that I used in my Korean skincare video where I was trying Korean products. And so far it's become one of my favourite moisturisers. Because I don't know, it gives the skin such a nice glow, but it doesn't make me feel like oily or like move my foundation. So yes, it's becoming one of my faves. And then before that I also used the Sand and Sky Australian Emu Apple Dreamy Glow Drops, and this just kind of does what it says. If you can see my forehead, that is the combination of these two. Just makes my skin super glowy and radiant. So we're going for a super glowy base. So I'm going to use the iconic London Illuminator Glow Drops. I just thought I'd try like a different kind of routine today. And I'm going to kind of pop these just on the cheeks and a little bit on the forehead. So I'm not going to put it everywhere because that might be a bit too much for my oily skin. So I'm just going to pop a little bit on the top of the cheeks and on the forehead, kind of where I would usually highlight. I'm going to use a Morphe brush to kind of buff that in. So you can always mix this in with your foundation, your moisturiser, but obviously it's so strong, so you literally need the tiniest amount. But I've just popped it under there, and then that way I kind of don't have to put loads of foundation on this bit. You can kind of sheer it out so it really comes through. So the foundation that I'm using is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation as usual. As you know, I love that foundation. So I'm just going to pop it on with a brush first, because I'm just starting with a smaller amount than usual. And I'm going to apply that with a Morphe M448 brush. And I'm using a brush because I kind of want to sheer it out first. As I said, I don't want to cover up too much of that that illuminator that I just put on. So I'm just kind of shearing it out first, buffing it in circular motions. And then any areas where I want a little bit more coverage, I'm just going in with my damp sponge. So by using a damp sponge, you're just keeping that hydration in the skin, and also it keeps the coverage exactly where you put it when you kind of bounce it up and down. So that's why I like this foundation so much, is because it's so buildable. You can make it so natural and sheer, or you can build it up But I think that is the key with like making your foundation look full but not too cakey, is to kind of do it in very, very thin layers. And then as usual, I'm going to use my Born This Away concealer as well, also by Too Faced. And I only like to put this kind of underneath the eye, but I don't put it up too high. So I kind of pop it on this area and then also a little bit on the corner, so to add coverage. But I put it lower so that way when I blend it up, I don't have too much coverage. Sorry, not too much coverage, too much product underneath the eye, so that kind of prevents it from creasing too much. Then I will use my sponge to blend that in. And the same as the foundation, it's always best to apply it in very, very light sheer layers. So that way you can kind of apply a little bit and then see if there's any areas where you want to apply more, rather than applying like a thick layer loads at the same time. Because more often than not, that you might not actually really need it. A lot of people have foundation there already, so just focus it on exactly where you need it. So mine is usually kind of in this very corner and on my cheek and then in the corner. And then whatever is left on my sponge, I will just dab over my eyelid. So if I'm doing my foundation first before my eyes, I will always do this because you've got kind of excess product left over, so it's easy enough just to pop all over the eyelid. So once you leave your skin to kind of settle down whilst, say if you're doing your brows or I was doing my concealer, sometimes your skin will naturally soak up some of the makeup, and then you might see like blemishes kind of show up and you're like, I swear I just covered that. But that is just because your skin will naturally soak up the foundation. My skin does it quite a lot. I think it's probably a bit more common with oily skin. You'll find that some skin can just take a lot of makeup. Some people can just take a lot of foundation and makeup in general. I know it sounds weird, but some people's faces, you can just put a tiny bit of foundation on, a tiny bit of eyeshadow on, and they just look, but it still wouldn't look too heavy. It's very strange. I think that's just where it kind of like soaks up a lot of the makeup. And I feel like my skin is very much like that. Like I can get away with wearing quite a lot of coverage. So yes, anyways, I was saying, so I will then go in with kind of a small layer, again using my sponge. So because it's damp, it helps to soak up any excess product. And also, you're just doing it in a very like light layer. So I just do another kind of layer around my chin area because I always find my blemishes kind of show through there. But this is for a full coverage. So if you wanted to go natural, you could just do the step that I've done at the beginning with just a light brush. That is completely up to you. So I am going to use cream contour now. So I don't know if I've used this in my video before, but like I said, I've kind of been changing up my foundation routine. So I've been using more cream products underneath my powder products, and then I feel like I don't have to use as much like bronzer or contour. So I'm going to use the Light Tantour contour cream by Huda Beauty, and I'm going to use that on a Zoeva 109 brush. And what I tend to do is get a little bit on the brush, I kind of dab the excess on the back of my hand and literally just push it into the skin. And I always go higher than I need to kind of really lift the cheekbone. And then same on the forehead. And then once I've kind of got the colour on there, I will just take the excess off on a towel and then literally flick it upwards. So rather than blending downwards, because you want to keep that kind of free of colour, and just kind of dab it up and down. Because I find when you like rub and blend your contour in, you're kind of like moving the foundation and moving the coverage. So I find doing it this way, you kind of keep the coverage, and then any areas that aren't completely blended, I just go over with my sponge, like so. And whatever's left, I'll just blend onto my nose. Then for blusher, I'm going to use the Sheer Blush by Iconic London in the shade Cheeky Coral. So I'm going to get a little bit on the back of my hand. Actually, I'm going to use my fingers. The thing is, this blush is so sheer that it just blends in like, I don't know, like it's really like liquidy, but it doesn't move anything under your foundation. So now that I've used all my cream products, I'm going to go ahead and powder. So this is the Huda Beauty powder in Pound Cake. Oh yes. And just before I do that, I'm just going to dab any creases out with my sponge. And then use that powder straight away to dab underneath the eyes. And I mainly kind of just focus that on underneath the eyes where the pores are, because my pores are reasonably enlarged. So this kind of just helps to blur them. And also when you have like glow, like any sort of like shimmer or glowy products on enlarged pores, it just kind of enhances them and makes, because the light reflects, so it's reflecting the texture or the pores basically. And then also on the chin and around the mouth. And then with this kind of foundation look, I kind of leave everywhere else reasonably glowy. Then for blusher, I am using Summer Breeze. So this is a powder blusher to kind of set that iconic London blusher in place. So I just kind of dab it up and down. And this also has like a little bit of like not shimmer, but it's got a nice like glow to it as well. So it kind of acts as a bit like a highlight. I kind of just dab that on top of the cheekbones. Then for powder bronzer, I am using the iconic bronzer by I don't know what I was saying then, by Morphe. So this is a matte bronzer. It's like the next best thing compared to my MAC Dark Deepest. I don't know if I love it as much. I mean, yeah, I do really like it, but I don't know. I feel like the MAC one lasts like all day. Like it doesn't wear off or anything. So just kind of blend that. The blusher looks super strong, but I find blusher just wears off on me. Like in half an hour it'll probably be not as strong. You can always run your powder brush over it if you want to tone it down. I think, like I was saying with your foundation, your skin just kind of soaks up the makeup anyway. So I think that's what happens with the blusher. Your skin just soaks up the colour. Again, that's why I love a sponge, because you can just go over if you really can't stand the blusher being too strong. Then for my highlights, so I was so excited to hear that Jaclyn Hill was bringing out her highlighters. So the highlighter that is in, the highlighter that is in, so the highlighters that are in this palette she has brought out as singles and permanent as well, which is really good because it means I can use it on my channel again, because I didn't even know that she didn't do them anymore and I was using them and people were like, we can't get them. So yeah, I'm glad she does them, so I can like link them down below. Annoyingly, so she does the blusher duos and I missed out. I can't believe I forgot. Like, that's so unlike me. Like, I tried to get her Valentine's Day mystery box or whatever it was called, and I didn't get it, which was really annoying. So I just completely forgot about this one, and yeah, it sold out. And then they were like being launched on Ulta. Obviously Ulta doesn't deliver to the UK, and it's like, what about your UK followers, Jaclyn? But hopefully she restocks, or hopefully there's like a UK realtor. I mean, I know Morphe used to stock Jaclyn, so hopefully they stock them, because that would be good. So I am popping the shade Mesmerized and Sparks kind of mixed together, and I'm just blending that on top of the cheeks for a really intense glow. A little bit on the nose and the tip of the nose. And whatever's left on my brush, I kind of just run onto the forehead. So I'm just going to get rid of any creases on the eye and then go straight in with some translucent powder. So this is the Beauty Bakery powder, and just set my eyelids. So for eyeshadow today, I'm going to be using the Bperfect Clientele palette in collaboration with Makeup by Jar. And the first colour that I'm going to go in with is the shade Peach Out. As you can see, it is my favourite shade because it is such a nice peachy shade that you can wear it like day to day. And just blend that into my crease, and I'm just popping that slightly above the crease as well. So because this brush is it's quite a large blending brush, so you can just really whack it on there, because this kind of step. You don't have to be too neat with it. You just want to kind of get it all over the crease. Then we're going to use that, oopsie, we're going to use that exact same eyeshadow underneath the eye. And I just use a pencil brush to do that, and quite a large one. This is a MAC 2, oh my god, I can't remember the names anymore. 219? Yeah. So I'm going to use a MAC 219 and just blend that underneath the eye. Again, you don't have to be too neat with it. I like this kind of look to be quite smoky on the lower lash line, so I'll go in with my first brush and just buff that underneath the eye. So you've got that nice like peachiness going all the way around. And with a Spectrum B07 brush, so this is one of my fave brushes because it is slightly tapered. So it's great for like just getting it in the crease but not going up as high. So I'm going to take the colour Dirty Tan and pop that in the crease. So this is going to go slightly lower than the first peachy colour and more kind of on the outer corner. Mainly just to kind of like deepen it up. You can kind of feel exactly where your crease is, so you kind of like dig, it sounds horrible, but you dig your brush in and you can feel under your brow bone. That's kind of the area where you want to put it. And just work it in circular motions, and then you can see you've instantly made it a little bit more dramatic. Well, not dramatic, but just a little bit more defined and add some depth to the eye. You can always go back in with your first brush and just help blend those edges. And if you want that brown to be more kind of intense, you can just switch up the brush. So this is a Spectrum B10, so again it's smaller. So it will just make that blend just a little bit more precise. And yeah, that was pretty much it for the eye. Really simple and easy. And we're going to repeat that on the lower lash line. I'm just using a flat brush just to blend it into the lower lashes. So just before I do my lid colour, I'm going to pop a little bit of the P. Louise base on my lid just to prep it for eyeshadow. Because the only thing is, when you put a nude colour on the lid and you've kind of already got eyeshadow on there, sometimes it can look a little bit dull and wish-washy. So we're not creating a cut crease, I'm just creating a nice blank canvas for the nude eyeshadow. So just kind of dab it up and down. I haven't gone for a super light colour because I don't want it to be too like harsh or too obvious. Sometimes when you use a concealer colour to do this kind of step, it just looks a bit harsh sometimes. It can go a bit almost like grey, and we don't want that. So by using one that is slightly warmer, this is a little bit peachy, so it just really helps to kind of blend in to everything else. Now I'm just going to use the same brush, but I've just wiped it on my flannel, and I'm going to use the shade Asha, which is this nude colour here, and literally just press that on top. So really simple, really easy. So it just helps to kind of like brighten that area up. And I'm just going to use a small brush just to kind of blend that edge so there's not like a harsh line between the two. The brush that I'm using is the Morphe M562 brush. Tiny weeny little blending brush. So great for this step. And that's pretty much it for the eyeshadow. Really easy. It's a great like kind of like bridal look because it's really flattering, universal, and just would look great on any skin tone. You would kind of just do colours that are similar to your skin tone, if that makes sense. So you would just go for two colours, like one that is a couple shades darker than your natural skin tone, and then a darker brown that shows up on your skin. But doing the same exact technique, great for bridal because it just really brightens the eye. It's a really classic kind of shape. And I'm just going to use the shade Glow Up, which is the lightest highlighty shade, and I'm going to mix that with my highlighter that I used from the Jaclyn Hill palette. Pop that in the inner corner, and I'm just going to use that same Jaclyn Hill highlighter on the brow bone. Okay, so I decided on a lip. So I went with Dervish lip liner, and then I put on Morphe's Wifey lipstick, and I wanted to lighten it up a little bit. Doll Beauty Dolled Out lipstick, and then I just finished that off with, this is literally my favourite gloss Like, how insane is that gloss? And this is Sweet Mouth by Fenty Beauty. Literally obsessed with that. But that is pretty much the look finished. I hope you enjoyed something a little bit more simple and easy. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe if you are new here. Let me know what you want to see next and you'll see me in my next one. Bye!